Alright. So, good morning. It is Sunday. It is Sunday, April 23rd. And just going ahead and doing a quick little video about our trip down here in Turks and Caicos. Very productive trip. ThnkBIG. Making sure that we understand the economics of the island and making sure that we understand the growth that's occurring down here. We got invited to come down, meet with local business leaders and government officials. The meetings were really about digital transformation and how businesses are going to go ahead and compete in a post-COVID world, post-COVID environment. Making sure that at the end of the day, it's not just about making sure that a business is successful, but it's making sure that they're able to go ahead and fully take advantage of technologies that really started catching on during the pandemic, like 5G, like satellite internet connectivity. A good chunk of these businesses are not running cloud native applications. They're on-prem, and they're on-premise as opposed to doing cloud just because that was their only option at the time. And you're not just talking about small businesses, you're talking about good size, medium businesses that have maybe upwards of 20 to 100 employees. And within those employee counts, they also have, they're doing pretty sizable revenue, 10 million and up. And it's important to make sure that these businesses are set up for success, not just for today, but for the future. And then making sure that happens. Having conversations like the one that Kelsey Hightower gave at KubeCon this past week on open source communities and businesses, and that space where the intersectionality of open source technologies and the implementation of those, right? Whether you are a startup implementing an open source technology and building your business on top of that, or you are a non-tech company and you are building your business on top of a component like Kubernetes, right? And then you're also rolling in things like Backstage from Spotify for service catalog, and you're also, trying to make sure that you're implementing the best in brand and best in breed CI/CD technology, whether that's GitHub from Microsoft, or you're doing something like Argo CD, something to that ilk. There's also conversations around how much time and effort does a business put into these technologies. That question is going to come up in terms of build versus buy. Are you going to go ahead and build your own deployment system, your own one-off? Are you going to go ahead and build your own POS system, or are you going to build it on the back of an open source technology? And just having those initial conversations, because a lot of business leaders, they're not having that because they're not in tech. They're in whatever their business is. So if it's food and beverage, if it's hospitality, if it's finance, they are all tech adjacent. They are all technologies that you will definitely utilize certain application stacks. You will utilize certain open source CMSs, right? But you may not have somebody on your team who is plugged into the open source community. And that's where ThnkBIG Technologies comes in. That's really where we shine, is making sure that we bring in that steady hand of expertise. Look at all this growth happening over here. Improvements to buildings and whatnot, so I had to point that out. We come in with that steady hand of expertise and that involvement in the open source community, and making sure that businesses are able to scale for the growth that's happening here at Turks and Caicos. You'll see all types of cars and whatnot down here. You'll see all types of people coming from the globe, because Turks and Caicos is open for business, but they're really building on that open source technology. Again, things that most companies would do as second nature outside of Turks. Down here, these businesses have not had that conversation. So that's what we've been doing for the last couple of days. Touring different warehouses, sitting down with business leaders, sitting down with public sector politicians, people who are well connected in these sectors, and really getting a feel and understanding for how Turks is setting themselves up for success. How are they dealing with this rapid growth that has happened over the last few years, especially in the wake of COVID? I think another conversation needs to be had too is I think a lot of business leaders that they may be scared or trepidatious. They know their business, they built it. Their management structure may know their business like the back of their hand, but they've been burned. They've spent money with other, not local, but other companies who they're just focused on pressing the little red button. You've heard me mention this in conversation. I'm not sure if I've ever talked about it on one of my lives before, but for those, if you know, you know. But the little red button is just keeping everything stat quo, not doing what's in the best interest of the business, not doing what's in the best interest of making sure that that business succeeds in their given space. And you can only have that conversation if you're coming in agnostic to whatever your bottom line is. Are you going to come in and suggest that, hey, we need to go ahead and move off of this HP ProLiant rack that you have sitting in your office here on the island and move to the cloud? Are we going to have a conversation about, let's get you off of that legacy contract that has been holding your business back? And that contract, while it may be for X amount of years, that contract is really your bottleneck. You're not able to go ahead and scale. You're not able to go ahead and really get your you're not able to go ahead and get your information up to the cloud because you are restricted. Now, on the island, what I found very interesting is that you have better connectivity on a yacht than you do on land in a lot of spaces. And you have Digicel, who's down there, and they've done an amazing job. There's a fiber ring, I believe is 100% complete, that goes around the island, or islands, right? Because you have, Provo is where I'm at right now. But then you have Middle Caicos, you got North Caicos, and you have all of this construction going on, right? All these things that are going on all over the place, and it's amazing. But you have business leaders coming here from all over the world just for leisure, and some of them just coming to get away. And we're here on the island having conversations with not just the local ones who are, again, putting up fine restaurants, putting up great experiences for guests. Some of them, they're not using the latest or even previous generation technology when it comes to ordering online, or whether it comes to being able to text and get a confirmation. They're starting to, but they're not there yet. So, good morning, how are you? So that's what we're doing here, and it's been a pleasure. It's been an educational experience. We're looking to go ahead and possibly get some cloud provider events going on here. We're also looking to go ahead and have some trainings down here as well. Talking about the difference between, traditional EC2 servers and then using ECS and EKS for cloud scaling. And then making sure that we're using all the cloud providers in the best appropriate way. Thank you. At the end of the day, being able to have these conversations with business leaders and being able to make sure that we are not just here, shaking hands, but also adding value to businesses. And so that, at the end of the day, is the point of us coming down here. And just want to go ahead and go live and let you all know that we're out. ThnkBIG is out here, and we're building. So thank you all for your time.